Hi everyone. I know it's been a hot minute since I have made a video, and I just want to put out a thank you. I was actually going through, I'm always on YouTube watching other people's videos and keeping in kind of updated, but since with this corona thing, not commenting so much and getting behind in a bit. To be honest, the whole pandemic had kind of made me want to step back a bit, because in the beginning it was a bit overwhelming hearing it all on the news, and then everyone was talking about it, so it's like it was a bit stressful for me personally. My work is in the healthcare field, and although I'm not a direct caretaker or a frontline worker, I kind of do the behind the scenes. So just work in general became very, very stressful. I did notice that I have 77 subscribers, which probably to anybody else on YouTube, that's like nothing. But to me, it was a big deal because I haven't been doing a lot with my channel to begin with. So I really appreciate, I'm really very surprised and grateful that people have actually subscribed to a channel that hasn't really been doing anything. So obviously we're several months into this whole pandemic. My work has been just super busy. But when that happens, you kind of find out that all areas of your life, and just, getting to the store and everything was, and still is, really stressful. And there's a lot of uncertainty, and being in the healthcare field, you just look at things differently, I think, than the everyday person, lay person. And so, it's just like I can hear things, and automatically my mind starts racing to, that kind of medical, oh, well, if that happens, this happens, and then that happens. So, and being such a spiritual person as well, I know that's not always true, because I don't believe in set outcomes. Even in the medical field, I've seen a lot of amazing things happen that can't be explained by science. So I don't believe everything's explained by science. So that kind of makes this time, I think, it's a weird blend. I'm sorry if I think I'm kicking the camera. Probably gonna have to put up with little quirks with me getting back into the flow, which is what I hope. I've just been feeling this need to be creative and have this outlet, which I had just started before all this happened. But I have taken the time. I've been on a health journey for about a year, like last April, and then stalled a bit when this all happened. So it was important for me to get back into that mindset and not let everything, including stress, divert me from that journey. So I needed a bit of time to even make sure that I'm back on track with that, which I am. And so there was a lot of things that I just felt like I needed to do. And I'm not sure. I think, like with everyone, I think finding your spiritual path, your outlet, your creative outlet, I'm sure I'm not the only person. You're drawn to certain paths, or like if you're pulled to tarot, or you're pulled to things esoteric in nature, like that's, I feel like I can't be the only one that, like, okay, so I'm pulled in this direction and this fascinates me, or I love reading about this, or I love studying this, but what does that really mean? Like, what can I do with all of this? And it's been in my mind lately, of all the things that I'm drawn to, that I enjoy, that fascinate me. I'm a Virgo, so I'm a very, like, I want to know everything kind of thing. And you just don't want to know everything. You just want to know everything perfectly as well. Like, there's got to be an answer, and I need to find it. And as we all know, that's not always possible. But I feel drawn to learning about certain things and wanting to understand them more, and how, being a Virgo, being a very nurturing person, like, how can that help other people? Like, I can't be the only one that asks all these questions or find these things fascinating. And yet what do you do with it? Like, there's this idea that, well, if I gather all this knowledge, I feel like, well, what do you do with all that knowledge? Like, especially in today's world, it's like, what do you do with this? How do you share it? Should you share it? So I don't know. I'm kind of doing a bit of a ramble, but well, anybody that's watched my videos, you know, well, that's you. So I started reading, going back to reading, because this book I've had quite a while, and I don't know if I even shared this book. I know I did a video on different books and things that I had in my collection that I find helpful. I'm not even sure if I went into this, as I am a witch, but I'm a solitary witch. My path has always been solitary. I have never been part of an organized coven or anything like that. So I've always been self-exploratory, self-learned, self-taught, as you might say. And hence I changed the name of my channel, because it is a hodgepodge. I don't know any other way to describe it. I don't think you can pin me down in a certain belief, or I'm one that believes that everything is connected, and the way we reach and explore or create within our spiritual journey is personal. But I don't believe there's a wrong way or a right way. I believe that it is possible to take something from here and something from over there and leave it, take it, put it into some sort of practice. I believe that's possible. I don't feel like I've ever incorporated something that I've learned or studied about. I think the most important thing is just to respect and be respectful of the different beliefs, and if you're going to be taking from them, at least know what you're doing, and give that religion, that practice, the respect it deserves, and reverence, I would say. And yeah, I think that's about all I'm going to say about it. It's just that I think sometimes we can get a bit callous or careless as well when we explore different religions or that are so tied into people's actual cultures and heritage. And although I do believe that to be respectful, but also I do believe that my core belief is that we're all connected, we're all the same, we all have a spirit. No one's spirit is greater or lesser than another's spirit. And yes, we're all raised in different parts of the world and had different cultures and religions and beliefs and countries, and my core belief is that it doesn't matter where you're from. Yes, it's nice that we all have a connection to a certain heritage, a culture, a family, but that doesn't mean that we're separate, that we're different, or that one is better than another. And so I tend to think that even though I may look at another culture and read about another culture and maybe find something within their spiritual practice that I feel drawn to or connected to, or they do something in a way that is enlightening to me, and if I take that into my own personal practice, again, I think you have to be respectful of it and reverent of it. But in my core belief, I don't believe there's anything different. And obviously that's not the way the world works, because there's many throughout history and time, people have been killed and persecuted because of their spiritual, cultural, whatever, race. So I know that's not the real world, and that's not the way it's lived out every single day, unfortunately. But for me, I don't, and have never felt that we're different. We may look different, we may do things differently, but so that's just me. But again, I don't think you should be disrespectful, and I don't think you should exploit other religions or cultures or whatever either. I mean, that's what I mean. I realize that's can be challenging to some people to do that, and you're always run the risk of offending somebody. And I think all you can really do is to know a person's intent, and from that, you have to draw conclusions or not. But I try always to approach everything in a respectful and a reverent manner when I'm dealing with different beliefs and cultures. So that's all I'm going to say on that. I think it's just important that, like I said, that what my true beliefs are, that I don't believe there is a difference. I think spiritually we're all the same. We all have the same spirit. And yeah. So during my time, I started, again, running off. This thing will probably be too long to even get through. I'll have to do more than one. I went back to this book, Simplified Magic, A Beginner's Guide to the New Age Kabbalah. And New Age, I just think is so funny because it's dating itself. This book is very, it's 1989. What's the copyright on this book? It's by Ted Andrews. And I really like this book. I think it's a very good introduction to the Kabbalah from a magical viewpoint, but also just the Kabbalah in general. And I'm not an expert, and this is something that I've always wanted to get more in depth with and learn more about. And so I thought, well, what better time than to take on something, to me, which has always been a challenge and never having enough time. And the magical part of it fascinates me. But I know there's a lot more to it than even that. So you can go very, 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 very deep with this. So from this, I decided I know people, the introduction to tarot cards and Kabbalah. There's lots of Kabbalah-based decks. And one that I found very interesting, and I think made it kind of simple, making the connection, was the Guild Tarot, which I'm currently using that this month. And I'll probably do what I'm using this month video. But I think that's a good one because people can look at that deck and think, oh, well, it doesn't even feel like a Thoth or a, kind of a esoteric kind of a deck. It's got a nice blend to it, I think, that makes it, if you're afraid of Thoth or a deck outside the Rider-Waite, I think that's a good one to use. So I was using that deck, and then I thought, I should look a little more into the Kabbalah again, and so then that's why this book came out. And I think I use this placemat, my Tarot Dreams, which actually has the tree on there, the Tree of Life on there, and that's a theme throughout that deck as well. So that's why I mean, there's tons of decks out there. You could, go on forever, I think. But I would recommend this book. I don't even know. I'm sure you can probably find it on Amazon. I don't believe it's one of those that you can't find anymore. But there's good practice as far as incorporating your magic and in the Kabbalah in this book. And for the most part, I think it's simplified. But knowing personally, I don't leave things at simplified. So I had seen a YouTube video, and I do absolutely love his videos, Brian Cormac Carr, and he has just a great range of different videos on lots of different, I would say, like subjects, which are just fascinating to me. And I feel like in a way, I'm a kindred spirit because I think it's like he has a very large scope of what he looks into, and tarot and all kinds. I would recommend checking out his channel. But he was doing actually a review of the Guild Tarot, and when I started to work with it at the beginning of the month, I thought, well, I might watch a video on this deck again and get a different perspective. And I just happened to find that he had done his review, and in his review he was comparing it to this tarot, and when I saw it I thought, oh, that's something I just have to have. And this is the Kabbalistic Tarot, and it's by I'm probably gonna absolutely slaughter the name as usual when I do. Eugene, okay, Vinitski and Frater North. Eugene Vinitski does other decks, and I got this off his Etsy shop. But like I said, I saw it first from Brian. What intrigued me was, what intrigued me about this deck was, it comes in a lovely, I'm going to do one of those, it comes in a lovely box, which it does. And, but, I mean, I don't know if there's other reviews on this deck or not, but it's got lovely card stock. The cards are, they're not going to be difficult to shuffle. I mean, it's brand new. I haven't worked these in yet, but I do have to sometimes be careful because I like to riffle and shuffle, and that's not always the greatest for your cards. This definitely for me is going to more be a learning deck and a study deck. I don't know if I'll ever use it as far as like trying to do actual readings with it, but I can't say no to that. But it's definitely, for me right now, it's a study, learning, jumping off point for me. But what I did love about it was, when he showed it, was just how it took the Tree of Life and it combines it with the Hebrew, the Rider-Waite. It has the little picture. Like here, it's probably a better example, like for the Fool. So it shows like the little, the drawing of the Fool, and then the elements, and the Tree of Life, and what this card, if you're using tarot and the Kabbalah together, where this card falls on the Tree of Life, and what you're working with when you're studying this card, or what this card means. It's very deep, but it's got the color correspondences as well. And when I saw him, it's just so pretty too. It's got the gold gilding. Do his review, I was like, oh my Lord, I really need that, because I'm being drawn to study the Kabbalah more, and I thought this would be a perfect study deck. And then I thought, and I could pull in the Hermetic Tarot as well, and the Thoth, and I was just, and it has obviously the card that has the Tree of Life put out on it as well. So so that's why I went to get this deck. So I looked up and found, the website where I could order, and it just happened that he was having a special where he had this deck and also a new deck that he had done, and I guess this deck came out of this one. From all the research and everything that went into creating this deck, he had all of this left over. I wouldn't say leftover, but I had acquired all of this extensive magical correspondent information, and he decided to, there you have all this research material, and that's basically what he says in the book and on his website as well, I believe, when describing it. So he created this other deck, and it's the Tarot of Magical Correspondences. And when I saw the deck on his Etsy store, I was like, oh wow, now that's a deck. That's a deck. And just an example, and I just got these, so I have not even like really wrapped my head around how much, I'm not one to be explaining all of these symbols because, like I said, I'm going to be learning this as well. So, but compared, he had a special where you could get both of these decks together. They come from they're shipped from Switzerland, but they arrived so fast. I was very impressed with the shipping. They came perfectly packaged. Nothing's damaged. They're just gorgeous. But as you can see, if you take the Kabbalistic tarot, how this card is, but this one goes into so much more information. Scintillating intelligence for the Fool, divination. You've got the color correspondence here. You have the tarot representation is done here, and also the path on the trees there. But there's all other kinds of information on this, and everything is connected and associated with this card and the esoteric magical correspondence. And I'm actually getting a book that should be coming today, and I'll do a review, which was going to help me also on this journey of just exploring this incredible information and how it all pulls together and how it can be connected with tarot and my tarot journey. I'm just very excited. For a learning kind of a nerdy person, I'm just very excited to be having a tarot, and that's something that's pulling into all the magical kind of studies that I've done, but putting it in a place and in a form that I can actually, I think, easily associate these different symbols, beliefs, and a way to put them into practice and know more about them. And really, for the Tree of Life, it's basically, it's the journey of coming from the Creator and down to where we are. And the goal is to work your way back up because, and in a way, that's everyone. I think everyone has, in a way, some sort of spiritual journey. And it is the goal to find that connection to the Creator, but not only to find it, but try to understand it. Like the question of, what am I supposed to be doing here? What have I forgotten? What's my journey to get back to some sort of knowledge or understanding of from whence I came from? And I think the Kabbalah is a great way of assisting in that sort of spiritual pursuit. That's my personal opinion anyways. And I have some other books that I am going to be using. I think I showed this one on my channel, The History of Magic and the Occult by Kurt Seligman. Again, I'm terrible with names. Please, you all need to understand. The other book that I'm going to be, just two books. Israel Regardie is such a giant. I think he's right up there. I mean, obviously with Aleister Crowley, and I'm going to be honest, I've never read Aleister Crowley, but that is my goal, is to read him. Everyone knows that Israel Regardie was, his secretary, I believe, before they had a falling out and went different ways. But I'm going to be honest. I mean, Aleister Crowley, he's so... I would not say, obviously he was controversial. And I think a lot of the writing and feelings of him can like definitely affected my wanting to pursue learning anything. My biggest thing was to get the thought deck, and that's like my first introduction, and I have that. And I haven't worked extensively with it, but it is also something I want to be doing now that I'm on this specific kind of path. And so the Tree of Life, obviously huge, is going to be incorporated in all this, as well as his book, Israel Agardi's book on A Garden of Pomegranates, Scrying on the Tree of Life. There's a couple other books of his that I want to get. I'm actually very happy to have the books. I'm not sure if when I get the other ones, if I'll actually get the actual books or put them on the Kindle. I think I've talked about this before. I love the portability of the Kindle. This is something about a real book. And so, yeah, I don't know why I'm going off on that. That's a whole different subject, but I know I'm probably not alone in that. But so this is just a quick video of just what I'm up to. And just, I don't know if I should do a flip through probably of, maybe, let's see if I put these the right way, because this could be, no. Let me I'll do a quick flip through. If anyone is like leaning towards wanting to study the Kabbalah or any kind of magic or a little bit deeper, I would definitely recommend these decks. But just a little look at what they look like. And this is the Magician. And like I said, I just literally got these decks, so I'm not the one to like go in depth about, and I'm learning this. So I'm not an expert. I would love to be one, but I'm not at the moment. But you can just see, I just love the colors in these cards, and the amount of information is just like, oh my God, it's like, I love it. I just can't wait to get started to work with them. And I really am so thankful that I did tune into Brian Cormac Carr's video, because like I said, this opened me to this deck, and then through that, going on the website, I saw that he had made this one, which is just where I'm at right now. So I just I'll probably just do the majors so that you can get a look at them. But yeah, if anybody's interested in studying the Kabbalah or trying to learn more about esoteric philosophies, ideas in regards to magic and their correspondence with the tarot, I would definitely recommend these two decks. I think they balance nicely off of each other. I like the simplicity of this one, but I also love the way this one incorporates all of this extended information and expands it. I shouldn't say yeah, more expands it on the over here and broadens it up, like taking it off in all kinds of directions, especially the astrological aspect of it, because I'm also started to get, before all this pandemic, was leaning towards learning more about astrology as well, which the goal is there, but I don't know if to me it seems daunting, and not that this doesn't, but I don't know. When you think of astrology, I always think of the charts. To me, seem so intimidating, and I know there's all kinds of programs and computer programs and things and apps that can help you with the charts now. It's not so much like hand drawing your own anymore, and there's tons of information, so I'm sure it's much easier. We certainly are more fortunate in the times we live in, where there is tons of things that are available that adapt all kinds of ways to learn and acquire skills, which before would be, you'd have to take a class and actually have some sort of like skill in drawing a chart, which that would not be me. I don't have the patience for crafts or anything like that, so that's just not me. I know there's some people that can do that, but I just don't have. I can be patient and focused. I just love the death card here. It's just look at that. To me, it's like wow. Yeah, so people are different and everyone learns differently, and that's why I find tarot so fascinating, is because especially now it's so creative. There's so many people that were blocked by the Rider-Waite-Smith deck and thought, oh, if that's tarot, I'll never be able to get into that. But I think the creativity now and the ability to find a decks that you can find and connect to and make learning and discovering the tarot so much easier is such a plus these days. I mean, before, obviously, let's face it, it was taboo a lot of times. And like I said, the color correspondences are here on this card too. But this is just a more in-depth, and I just can't wait to find out. And who knows, maybe I'll do a series on once I learn a little bit more and I can explain what exactly is going on the cards and what I'm finding with it and on my journey. If that's something people would be interested, I don't know. But look at there with Judgment and the Lion. Judgment over here. This is depicted kind of like the Marseille one, I think. These remind me of the Marseille drawings a little bit more. The World. So yeah, I think I'll stop there. I think it's a good representation of the cards and how they're set up, and definitely check out Eugene Vinitski's. I wish, Vinitski. I'm sorry if I'm saying the name. It's not one of my fortes, pronouncing names, but a great, wonderful deck. I highly, highly recommend them if this is something that you're interested in and want to learn more or somehow bring that into your tarot practice. These two decks, I think, are amazing. And in these times, especially everyone knowing what the post office is like, I actually got this very, very timely. I was very surprised. I was like, I'm not going to get this for a while, and I'm just going to be content. I did get another deck, which is totally, and my birthday's coming up in September, so this was a birthday present. I have my book that should be coming today, actually. Part of my birthday present. I got, and like 3 other decks. One I have, 2 will be coming, and I will be sharing those. I'll probably do another video just on some books that I'm also reading, and probably show that other deck that I got, and you'll be able to tell, like, I am all over the place, like, from this very intense deck that maybe some people wouldn't even want to be looking at it, to just regular tarot decks that people will probably think are very fluffy, or that's me. I'm all over the place. But I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you survived through my ramblings, that's always amazing to me if people manage to do that. But again, I highly recommend these decks if you're researching, interested in the Kabbalah or magical correspondences in general, and learning about them, associating them, and taking them into other aspects of either your spiritual practice or just learning and developing a knowledge base in certain areas. I think it's amazing to me that all of these things can be drawn into one I don't know, tool, I guess, because I do think of tarot as a tool as well, as something that I use for multiple reasons and multiple levels. I think that's why I love the tarot. What you want to use it for, you can use it for, and that's fine. And everybody uses it differently. And to me, that's amazing and wonderful. So again, thank you for hanging in. Hopefully this actually turns out well and I can post it, and then I'll go on with some other videos today. Blessings.